Hello everyone, welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and today we are going to be looking at the next chapter in your story of life moving forward, the different people, places, advice, and guidance, as well as what you're going to gain most from this new journey. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so welcome back my beautiful kindred spirits and anyone new who may be joining us here for the very first time. If you are, I have lots of different videos here that you can check out, and I put out new videos every single Monday, so definitely feel free and consider subscribing if you'd like to join in on all the fun here. It is a small but very kindred community, and I'd love to have you join in to empower yourself through these new chapters, as today we are going to be looking at those new chapters coming in for you. As I mentioned, we're going to look into setting, place, people, the climax of the story, that kind of stuff, and the different battles and the different character development that you'll be gaining as you move through it. So this is going to be a very fun one. I hope you do enjoy. But before we start looking at each of the piles here in more detail, I do just want to remind you, especially those who have been here for a while and would like to support this space even further. It is a small space, but I really do appreciate any support that comes through with the Kindred tip jar down below. But you can also check out the different ways that I do snail mail readings, and those of you who have heard them and have gotten one yourself, I appreciate all the reviews and love that you've showered me with them. All of the reviews will be down below, but these are typewritten on a vintage typewriter. They are sent in the mail to you to treasure, to enjoy, and some of you even come back to them even a year later since you've received yours and still find nuggets of information that is waiting for you there. So definitely feel free to check those out down below. They're very kindred, very beautiful, very treasured readings, and I definitely want to support you on your journey and your chapters moving forward. So if you want to check those out, or the Kindred tip jar, all of that will be down below. But we're going to go ahead and look at your piles. So here for pile number 1, and with all of them, we have sort of a selection of pages. So you can look at the different words on here. You can look at the specific stamp. In this case, we have a mushroom stamp, or you can look at the color of the paper clip to sort of decide which one works for you most. But this one we have, like I said, the mushrooms as well as the paperclip, which is a very bright pink or a baby pink. So that is pile number 1. For pile number 2 here, we have these different words showing up here, as well as several different little keys as a stamp. And they're more of like a skeleton key, by the way. And then we also have the green paperclip here. So that is pile number 2. And lastly here for pile number 3, we have all of these different words showing up with a yellow paper clip this time and a little teacup with little dots all over it. So that is pile number 3. So definitely feel free to take your time and see what comes through for you. But I do invite you, as always, to take a deep and cleansing breath here with me to really ground into your energy and within your intuition to see which pile really calls to you most. So let's go ahead and take that deep cleansing breath together here now. So as always, you're welcome to choose 1, 2, all 3 of the piles. You can choose a pile, flip-flop, change your mind, however it resonates and works best for you. There really is no right or wrong way to do this. Definitely play around, see what new chapters, maybe there's more than one for you this time around. All of the timestamps will be down below in the description, as well as within the chapter marks of this video. And as I mentioned, feel free to like, subscribe, check out the different offerings that I have down below with snail mail readings and the Kindred tip jar. And if you'd like to connect with me further, I do a lot of things with my Instagram where you can keep up with me, and I meet so many of you guys there. So definitely feel free, definitely don't sleep on that Instagram community. I'd love to connect more with you guys there with things like spirituality, magic, and queer different topics. So definitely feel free to check all of that out down below. And we're going to go ahead and get started here with pile number 1. Hello Group 1, if you've decided to choose this little booklet with the mushrooms and the little pink clip here, then this is the pile for you. We are going to be using the charms, possibly the watercolor affirmations, as well as several different oracle decks and a tarot deck, but today we're actually going to be leading, instead of with tarot like I typically do, with this oracle deck of the Thread-Bound Oracle, because it perfectly aligns with our theme today, which is all about the new chapter that you're going to be embarking on, and this is all about bookmaking. So I thought it was perfect for this. So today, if you are ready and settled, we're going to start looking into that. First, we're going to look into the setting, the characters, the people that are going to be written into this chapter that you're going to be writing into this space, right? This is something that you can take these characters, you can write them out, you can put them in. This is all up to you at the end of the day, but these are the things that are aligning most within the chapter that you're heading into at this time. So let's go ahead and get started. So feel free to send your energy in, and we'll start looking at the people, places, elements, different ideas and themes that are going to be most coming up in this new chapter for you. Okay, so first off, we have the companion. It says here partnership, support, and reliability, and it's like two people here using a cooking together book and working together to create a meal. So there is that partnership, that teamwork, that working together to make something happen that can be very nourishing. So let's see what else there is. So there's definitely some people involved in this story. I think that one just... I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and take it. So we also have the two of paper. So we have the page, options, decisions, and dreams here. So you have options, decisions, and dreams. So there's things to be, so far we have 2 and 2. So I think that's really interesting that we have the companion and then the page, which is all about making those options and decisions. So it could be that you might be currently trying to decide on a partner, or are seeking out a partner or a person in your life, a companion of sorts, so a friend, seeking out a family member maybe you haven't spoken to in a while, but something about that, or they're helping you with your dreams at the moment or making a decision. But let's go ahead and look for your final card here, and we'll get even more context later here in a minute with tarot as well. But let's see, we have the companion, the 2 of paper, and this page. What else is coming through for group 1 here for the new chapter they're going to be embarking on? All right, so we got 2 of them all in the paper suit. Very, very interesting. Paper is all about being malleable, not only to create the paper, but what it's going to set the stage, the setting for you to be able to write your chapter. You don't want to write on paper that is too coarse or too thin. That's what we're kind of setting that stage. So we have both the 2 of paper with the page, the 4 of paper with the signatures. So this is about like putting pages together to create the actual book. It says here tradition, organization, and planning. So you have to really think ahead about that. That's more of that think ahead process. And then we have the 6 of paper, which says glue. So we have 2, 4, and 6. Very interesting. There's definitely a throughout this chapter, I think you're going to have many chapters throughout. But it says here the 6 of paper, glue, mending, healing, and reconciliation. Really, really interesting, especially with that reconciliation and the idea of like a companion of sorts. So the companion's at the heart of it all. And then I'm almost actually going to put it in order here based off of the numbers. But you are definitely moving towards a companion, or a companion is definitely here to help you throughout this process, because you're definitely moving in a succession. And since they're all even numbers, it does seem like it's going to be pretty smooth, or it doesn't seem like it's going to be super rocky or like a big shakeup, but I do think it's going to be really empowering and a path you really need to be heading on, a chapter you really need in your life at this time. So let's start diving into more context with the tarot here, since most of your cards are really just showing a succession of time, one step to the next step to the next step. So you're starting here where you're making decisions, you're really acting on your dreams, you're making plans with someone, or this person is here to help you to be a companion through this. It might be that it's a teamwork thing, or a partnership of some sort, or some sort of a like collaboration. And then here with the signature, we do have maybe you're moving into a house together, or you're building a house in the idea of like, you're building a foundation with someone, you're building a space with someone, I'm almost feeling like in a work life setting, but obviously this could go anywhere. But I do feel like there's like this work life partnership kind of feeling of working together in that way, in a collaboration way in that way. But you can see, however, it's really resonating most for you. But it does require a lot of planning, a lot of collaboration, a lot of decision making together. And then you also have glue, which does require also maybe even bringing in more parts, more people, more teamwork to the entire table, because the part of the paper suit just before this one, the 5 of paper, is all about cutting things up, making decisions, editing what you've created, because right, sometimes we build a foundation, then we got to kind of bring it back down and rebuild again, reorganize, rethink things. And so the glue is bringing in those pieces all back together. But in this case, we didn't have the 5 show up. So I feel like the mending has less to do, or it has less to do with mending and more about bringing more people to the table, bringing more to this space, taking a little bit of their life and your life and bringing them together to mend and meld and glue your lives together. So that definitely feels like it's either very much on more of like a personal relationship or a partnership with a collaboration or team of sorts. But let's go ahead and just pull 2 cards here to get the last little details. Any more on this companion or this exact setting coming through? So we have the Lovers. So okay, for some of you, this has definitely got more of that partnership in that way, in a more lovey-dovey kind of way, or a looking for more of a romantic partner of sorts. So that's definitely coming through. Like I said, with that glue card, it can be like you're mending or melding lives together, or because we have reconciliation, it can also mean it could be someone from your past or someone you already knew, and you're ready to maybe explore a new space with them. But that's coming through with the Lovers card, because the Lovers also does have a lot to do with choice and decision, choosing a person and really sticking with it, and not from a bad place, but more so to stick with it because you want to be loyal or to be a supportive place for this person as well as them to you. So let's see a little bit more here. Okay, so we also have the Judgment card. Very interesting. It also does have a lot to do with choice, and it also represents a lot to do with like a level up. So seeing as this is a new chapter in your life, it's also like a wake-up call. So I feel like what's going to be the catalyst to start this 2 of paper, to start heading on your dreams, to make these new decisions, the decision and the about your dreams, possibly within this relationship, is going to be quite a wake-up call, or it's going to be like you're going to be all of a sudden like an epiphany moment where you're like, wow, that person in my life, maybe they could be something more, or wow, that opportunity, it's like never hit your head, and then all of a sudden you just like wake up and it's like, or you have like that shower thought or something like that where it just like clicks, everything just clicks, is what I'm getting from this Judgment card. So yeah, basically that's what we have coming in for your next chapter. We're going to look more with charms and your numbers and letter tiles here in a minute to get a little bit more information on what you're going to gain most from this. But I want to first look into some advice coming through for you from these cards. So advice moving forward through this new chapter of your life that you're writing at this time. So let's see, group 1 here. What's coming in for this new chapter in your life for advice? Okay, we've got 2 of them here. Definitely think I saw the moon pop out there. Let's see. Yep. Okay, so, oh, that's cute too. Okay, so first off, we have the moon. The moon is, again, decisions, having 2 sides to the coin. Also companionship, right? You have all of those different phases coming together, more of that melding and mending. Not even mending, it's just like a glue, right? You're just taking different pieces of paper, gluing them together and making them really fit together and kind of like cradle each other is what I'm getting. And also that it's going to take maybe a couple of moon phases, right? It's going to take a couple of phases. This relationship is going to go through several different chapters to get here, like sub chapters, lots of subtext, even maybe body language is coming through with this, a lot of intuition, right? You have to really read the signs, the subtext, to see what's coming through. So that's advice. Read the signs, body language, those sorts of things, because they're going to give you a lot of hints about how this person or how this foundation is going to be built. And then alongside that judgment, that epiphany kind of moment, we have glitter. This is the cottonwood tree, one of my favorite trees. It's very nostalgic for me personally, but it says here, what gift awaits? So this is glitter. This is putting a little bit of that surprise element, that epiphany element into this, because in the wind, cottonwoods are like glitter, and also all of the little seeds that they plant, they can go a long ways. They also grow very tall, really nice foundations together, and very nourishing places. So I really feel like it's like just allowing yourself to have this come in, or allowing yourself to start making these decisions to move forward, because it's going to be such a gift in your life. It's going to make you feel lucky, feel blessed, feel very grateful. So I love that so much, and I think it's just keeping that gratitude in your everyday, especially as you're moving through this. It might feel like you don't know what they want or how you are going to move forward, or there might be a little bit of like confusion, but it's just reminding yourself of the things that you do know, and reminding yourself that you can not only have them be a gift to you, but you can be a gift to them. That companionship card, right? It shows two people really working together to create such a nourishing meal. So what are you creating with this person? It's not just to have a person in your life, but what do you bring to the table, and what do they as well? So I really, really love this so far for your cards. Let's go ahead and head on into your charms and the entire section here that we'll be doing for that. So for this, I'm going to use this little space here to look into charms as well as letters and numbers. We'll start first with the letters. These are going to be names, dates, places, more oracle messages, things like that coming through. So let's see, group 1. Okay. So let's see here. We had one just sort of teetering, which I think is really interesting. We have the letter R. I'm going to zoom you in before we go any further here. But we have the letter R, I, and B. So already we have like burr, so a bit of like a cold feeling. We have the letter D, E, and I. So I feel like if you feel like, obviously I'm not seeing this in that sort of way. I see it more like the death card, something coming to an end so a new beginning can begin. But I feel like whatever it was is like the winter. It's like you're ready for spring. You're ready for things to start to grow again. You're ready to actually have action on your dreams and have that awakening feeling. With that judgment card, it usually showcases someone awakening from a space, a slumber of sorts. So this is like, I feel like you're waking up from being kind of cradled by the snow for so long, cradled in comfort for so long, staying in one place for so long. I think you're ready for that new space and to just move forward and let that old energy, that old chapter close, especially if it was with a person who wasn't really that great for you or gave you the cold shoulder a lot. So you can see what other things come through here. We have like dire or bird even could be coming in. Bird being like freedom or to speak your voice. Yeah, you can see what else comes through here. Feel free to write these down and really play around with those beyond this reading, or let me know in the comments down below. I love hearing your guys' thoughts, but we're going to move on to your numbers. So this can give you more of those dates. This can give you how many months it might take. This can give you lucky numbers, angel numbers, things like that, however you want to read them. Let's see, group 1. The numbers here for the new chapter for group 1. Okay, so I'm already seeing the number 11, which is a wish fulfillment number, right? Like 1111 would be interesting if we got more than one. We have the number 13, which does showcase and relates to the death card. Again, letting something go, there might be something in your life right now, an old companion, an old job, or an old dream that you feel like you need to let go of to move forward. It might even be that you need to like innovate or change that. We also have the number 2, which does represent partnership and companionship. The number 8 represents a lot to do with abundance and things around career. And then we have the number 13 again. So definitely coming through with that number. 13 can also represent that it can take longer than a year. to get to this place, which would make sense since you had a lot of that succession of time, or secession of time, not sure how you say it, but you know what I mean. So yeah, we have 13, 13, 2, 8, and 11 in blue, orange, and red, in case the numbers really speak to you in some way. So let's go ahead and move on to the final part of your reading, which is going to be the charms. So the charms here, feel free to send your energy in. We are going to be looking into what you're going to gain most from going through this journey, by actually heading on these dreams, seeking out this companionship, and see what comes through and what you're going to gain most from it. So let's see, group 1. Okay, interesting that we got 2 pennies. Was not expecting that. One of them is a different specific penny. I think this is actually like a Canadian coin of some sort, a 1-cent Canadian coin, but it fell on the like sovereignty side of it. Since it is Canada, and I personally don't live in Canada, it makes me think more of this idea of travel, maybe needing to travel to get to this person, right? We had that house on the 4 here, so this can also showcase that this may happen when you move to a new place or move in your life in some way. So maybe moving from one job to the next, from one chapter to the next, in a more overarching sense, or literally like moving from one apartment to the next or something like that. It can even be just in general traveling to see this person. They may live quite far from you, but that's coming through. We also have the other penny that we have here. This is a United States penny. This one is from 1995. So that may resonate for you in terms of a number. But that is it for me personally, since it is a penny that represents my birth, because that's my birth year. For you, it can just represent a rebirth in some sort of sense in that way. We also have the number 7 showing up. This is more to do with what you gain, right? You can tell they get a little bit dirtier in with the rest of the charms, but we have the number 7 showing up in this case, which represents introspection. So it's making sure that you don't repeat the chapters that came from the past, right? You're ready for something new. You're ready to wake up and shake up a little bit of your space, because at the moment it's feeling very comfortable, stuck in your ways, stuck in that cold space. So you're going to need that shake up to get to where you want to go. And it may be a little bit hard to get there, but like I said, that companionship is there to support you. It doesn't even have to be one person. It could be several different people being a companion in your life, or just finding companionship through friends, family, found family, multiple places and layers in your life. We also have music, and this one specifically is like the heart of music. So this is like, music is what you're going to gain most from this, and the idea that you're going to find things to be more melodic in your life. Things are going to have more balance, more flow. If you've ever been like walking and you feel like you have like or you've been on like the bus or something like that, and you have like this beautiful playlist going on in the background, and you just feel like this is like the playlist to your life. And I feel like right now you're going through that main character feeling where they're walking through the street and everything's about them at that moment. So I feel like you're going through a very big main character moment, and that's what I'm getting here. And you're going to gain a lot more melody and harmony and alignment in your life because of this. So really loving your cards, loving your charms. Definitely feel free to take a moment to look at these even further, or to look at your cards further here and really see what's coming through for you even deeper. Let me know in the comments down below what you saw for your reading in your new chapter. I would love to hear your thoughts, as well as be sure to give this video a like. It really does help the channel so much, and I appreciate it so deeply. Thank you so much for being here, and if you would like to see more of the videos that I have on my channel and be updated with each of the Monday readings that I put out every single week, then definitely feel free and consider subscribing. I'd love to have you join us in this space. And also, if you'd like to check out the different ways you can support this channel, you can check that out down below. There is the Kindred tip jar, as well as the snail mail readings that I do. These ones are typewritten on a vintage typewriter. They're very sacred and treasured by so many people who have got them. I've got lovely reviews and more information down below. And lastly, if you'd like to check out my Instagram community, you can check that out down below as well. I'm active there almost every single day, and I've met so many of you there as well. So before I run out of breath here, I'm going to move on to the next pile. Thank you so much for being here, for supporting this space and supporting yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 2, if you've decided to choose this specific little book here for your next chapter with the green paperclip and the little keys everywhere, then this is the pile for you. We're going to be using the charms, possibly the watercolor affirmations. Not sure if they fully fit today, we'll see. And then we're also going to be using several different oracle decks, and I usually use a tarot for our main deck, but today we're actually going to be using the thread bound oracle for your main deck today. Which I typically do tarot, so this is going to be really fun, and I already really enjoyed it for the first one, because what we're going to first start looking into, and definitely feel free to get settled while I talk here, but what we're going to first start looking into is the setting, the people, the places, and the different things that you're going to be writing into this new chapter in your life. As always, these are always up to you. You get to write in what you want in your life, who you want, and you can write out the parts in your chapter that you don't want. But these are the energies that are coming in most for you at this time, and you get to make those decisions on. So for that, we're going to start looking into the setting, the place, the people, all of that kind of stuff to start setting the scene. So let's do that first. It's perfect with this as well because it has a lot to do with bookbinding within this specific deck, but let's go ahead and do it. So feel free to send your energy in here, group 2, and we're going to get started. So, okay, we've already got one flying out. So, goodness, they are really flying. Okay, so already we have 2 that have flown out, so I'm going to talk about these and we'll look a little bit further. But first off, we have the family. This flew out immediately, so family is going to be a big part of this, whether it's with your chosen family or your kindred spirits in your life, or with your actual family in that way. We have the family. It says kinship, belonging, and collaboration. So we'll see how that continues here. We also have the stars. I really like this one. It can showcase like this weaving pattern, and then the stars being like this guiding light to move you forward, and then it coming into your life in terms of like manifestation. But it also says here luck, hope, and wishes. So there you are with the stars showing up here. This can talk about family guidance, even from beyond the veil in some way, right? We kind of have the veil here showing up as well. So yeah, I really like this. There's luck on your side, those sorts of things. Definitely people and spirit guides and things like that, if you believe in those, kind of working in your favor in the background for this. So let's see, they're going to be a big part of the people in your story, but let's get a little bit more of the setting. So first off, we've got both of these. Okay, so let's see here. We have 2 more flowing out with the library. It says knowledge, resources, and history. There also is this spiral staircase that goes all the way up to this feeling of like knowledge being something that you can continue to grow and expand upon and move up and up and up within. Maybe you're gaining more knowledge on your family, your chosen family, the people in your life, things like that. Research. Because I think it's interesting too, you have the 5 of paper and it says cut. This says loss, betrayal, and finality. Because this is the paper suit, it showcases that like when you're writing a novel or writing a chapter, right, we've got to cut some people out. We have to cut some knowledge out. And this can also talk about old past chapters. So this, like I said, with the library being here, history being one of the main elements within this, it can showcase that there might be something going on with your family, or your chosen family, that you, not necessarily that you have to cut them out, right? You can see how these all kind of align for you, but there does seem to be something about family, your family's history, your roots, your ancestry even, that maybe there's been parts of those chapters that have been kind of left out or pushed under the rug that might be surfacing at this time, or you're gaining more knowledge in. That could be empowering, or it could be that you need to create boundaries with them. It could go many different ways, but I definitely see that you're going to have more agency in this to cut out chapters, remend chapters, or reconsider different chapters that have happened within your family, your friends, your chosen family. And like I said, things might be happening beyond the veil. So when we had loss, this can also talk about grief, right? There can be that feeling as well, because there is this like kind of spiritual element to, I don't know if you can see the little people here on the spiral staircase. You can definitely see like this one here. It does have this like spiritual feeling. And then even here you have the star showing up. So I really feel like there's this access to knowledge that's coming through on a spiritual sense that you might be unlocking at this time too, that might be on more of a spiritual level. So with your spirit guides on your own journey in that way, and they're going to be quite a guiding light to resurfacing, rehashing, cutting out, and creating these boundaries with family and chosen family at this time. So like I said, you don't need to make like really quick, like rash decisions with these scissors here, but I do think that it might be needed to resurface, see what pieces have been shredded away, and kind of piece back together those puzzles, and also maybe take people out of the picture as well if needed be, or to create those boundaries. Very empowering, but also a lot to have to resurface and reconsider, because it's a hard thing to cut people out of our lives or to create harsh boundaries, or what people would see as harsh but really are ones that are very empowering for you, depending on the perspective, right? So let's look a little bit further though. Let's get 2 more cards here to look more into the setting, the place, the people of this story and this new chapter in your life at this time. So group 2, feel free to send your energy through time and space as always. Okay, so our first one here, we have the Page of Wands. So this one feels a lot more like you, because there's this agency to the Page of Wands. Also a travel element, maybe needing to travel or get some space away from family, or there is an independence as well that comes with the Page of Wands. So it can also be that. The stars does showcase like that overarching, like anything's possible kind of feeling, and the Page of Wands has that same feeling of feeling like anything is possible. So sometimes it might even be that you just need to cut some apron strings, or you need to move into a place of independence as well. So it might not be some big secret or some big thing happening in your ancestry, but it can also just be that you really need some space away from them to grow on your own, to move up on your own in some way. So let's look for one more here. Group 2, we're looking for information on this new chapter, the people, the places, the setting. Group 2, new chapter. New chapter here for group 2. All right, let's see that last one here. I feel like we had a couple flip, but this is the one that I was feeling the most, and we have the 6 of Swords, of course. And then I'm also going to take the one that was popping up underneath, because we also had the Knight of Cups here. And so these together already, we have like the Page and the Knight. There can be this feeling of moving from the Page to the Knight. There is this feeling of moving up in maturity, and it's also emotional maturity, right? So sometimes we let our emotions drive us, but sometimes we need a little bit of that adventure. We need to move past, what is always comfortable, right? So we can have like the lovey-dovey feelings, but we can also have like this scary feelings of cutting things out. Or am I betraying my family or putting them aside, or am I doing something wrong because I need that independence? But you're not. It's totally normal to need space, to take up space as well. And that's what I'm really getting with this, is to take up space, to allow yourself to have more space, more expansiveness, and to see where you can run, without your family being the one that is sort of always there. Not that they can't be there, but like to gain a little bit of that independence. And we also have here the 6 of Swords, which represents travel. It represents moving from one chapter to the next, almost, in a way, right? It's also only taking what you need, right? They can only fill this boat with so much before it will be too overfilled, that it can't float. So I feel like this is needing to minimize what you take with you, and knowing that you can't take everything, and you can't You know, we can try to stuff as much as we want in that suitcase, our people, our friends, and making sure I'm a good this and I'm doing that and everything is perfect. And perfection just really isn't going to exist in this. You have to allow yourself to only have a certain amount of things, right? We have that star. You only have a certain amount of things that you can fit in that light before you dim it. So that's what I'm really getting mostly from your cards here, is that movement in that chapter, history, ancestry, even a travel element, independence, luck and spirituality being on your side or changing up in some way. And this, like I said, can go many different ways, and you're welcome to write the story as it unfolds in the way that makes most sense for you. But we're going to look an advice card coming through for you on this journey, but we're also going to be using the charms as well as different letters and number tiles to look into a lot more information, so definitely stay tuned for that. But if you are enjoying this reading so far, it would be amazing if you could give this video a like. I really do appreciate it so much, and definitely feel free to subscribe as well. But let's go ahead and look into any advice coming through on this new chapter for you. Moving into this new chapter, what advice is coming through here for group 2? I felt this card here. All right, of course, we already had the scissors showing up here with the needing to edit and reconsider the different pieces that are being shredded here, but we also have the burn card, the wildfire card, and this is what is ready to go so I can grow, because a lot of wildfires that are present on the prairie, which this is a deck all based on the prairie, is actually really useful to the prairie. It actually ends up giving a lot of nutrients, fertilizer, those sorts of things, and more growth than if it didn't. So like I said, you don't want to dim that light. So your advice moving forward is you're going to have to kind of burn some space for you to grow, to fertilize your space, because right now it's feeling overcrowded. It's got too much going on. You have too many like hobbies and home life and people and places, and I think you just need to take up space for yourself, because I think that it's kind of overgrown with all of these weeds from other people that you're trying to look after or other places in your path. So that's what we have going in for your advice card. Let's go ahead and move on to your charms. So for this, we're going to use this again here. If you've been here before, you'll know that I've been using this more recently, and I've been really enjoying it for casting your charms with your numbers and letters. So let's go ahead and first start with the letters. So this is going to be names, dates, places, people, oracle messages coming through, and we're going to piece it together as we go. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, not too many. A nice amount. The ones that came up upright immediately, we have Q, N, and E. So I'm almost getting like open keeps showing up to me in some way, or queen even. We also have the letter X as well as L. I also saw like excel, but I wasn't seeing excel in like to be excellent or perfect, although that did come up in your pile in different ways, right? That perfectionism or wanting to be almost like too nurturing towards everyone else and not yourself, and that this chapter is about you, but I also saw like an Excel document in some way, like you know, the green Excel spreadsheets and things. So it can also be an organization or reorganization, which can have more to do with that cutting things out, retracting things, and editing the space. So that's what I'm seeing here. Mostly these, like I said, can be different places or different things that might pop up for you with names and such. But there we have Q, E, L, X, and N showing up here. Let's go ahead and move on to your numbers rather. So these are going to be more on those dates. So this can tell us months, this can tell us a specific day in a month, or numerological sort of spiritual sides to this as well as like angel numbers and such. So let's see what comes through. Group 2. Okay, quite a few numbers. So we have the number 13. This also showed up for the last group a lot too. So if you watched both, there's definitely a 13 showing up for you a lot. We also have 14 or 148 that showed up together. 13 can also represent the death card. Again, that burning, that renewal, that open space. We have 1, 1. The colors might resonate as well. We have a lot of red, and we also have the number 6, 4, and 8. I believe that's everything there. So I've got like 84, 65, 11, and 13 to see what comes through for you. And then now we're going to move on to the last part of your pile here, which is the charm. So this is going to give us what you're going to gain most from this experience, right? So going through this experience, what are you going to gain most? Attributes, parts of yourself that you're going to rehash or refine, rediscover, and empower yourself in. So let's go ahead and start mixing these up. Definitely feel free to send your energy in, and we'll get started. So here we go, group 2. Okay, lots of charms. I was definitely feeling a whole handful for you. There are a few that are showing up very similar to group 1. We have the love note. So this can talk about love or a strike of love, or almost I'm getting more of like a pulling at your heartstrings vibe showing up here for you. So this is going to really have a lot more of that feeling that we had earlier with the Knight of Cups, which is all about pulling at your heartstrings and having that be sort of your motivator moving forward. It's going to possibly be a more emotional situation. But that's coming through. We also have the pumpkin seed. So this can represent a lot of abundance coming through as well. So in career, something you might be gaining from all of this too is maybe more career advice, more abundance of love, more abundance of freedom. You can see what comes through there for you. We also have the bells ringing. So you can see this as wedding bells, holiday bells, celebrations of some sort. It also reminds me of like the Judgment card with bells as well, and in some sort of like awakening. Lots of melody sort of elements here as well, because we have lots to do with music, or lots to do with things having to do with auditory sort of signs and signals that might be coming from spirit for signs that you might be looking for. We also, of course, have the cleaver. So I have different sorts of like things. We have scissors, I have a hacksaw, but this is the cleaver. This is about a clean cut, right? This isn't all raggedy or done really slowly. That creates a lot of it's not like a hacksaw. This is like very clean, precise boundaries and cutting things off. So you might need that, right? With your family, with someone in your family, or within these relationships or the chapters that you're building, you might need some clean cuts, some just kind of cold turkey kind of feeling going with it. So that's showing up here. I'm almost feeling like going cold turkey with a certain habit or something that showed up there as well. We also have these springs. So this can represent specifically like spring, as in like springtime, but we also have like a jumpstart forward, right? This is like a catapult or a catalyst to move you forward. And I think a lot of that's going to be coming from your emotions, because again, we have more to do with emotions here with the key to your heart. So we have the key to your heart, we have the melody to your heart, listening to your heart, all coming through, and then we have something needing to spring you forward or being the catapult for change and a need for change. So there is something that I feel like it's not going to be an easy decision to make these clean cuts, but I think that they're going to be most important for you, because I think that you're just feeling called to do that, to create more space for abundance and to create more space to believe in yourself a little bit more and to have that independence come through. Because we also have the reindeer, so this represents believing in myths and folklore and believing in yourself when no one else does, or knowing that your dreams are something you can believe in. We also have the paperclip. This usually represents mending as well as like putting things together. So even though we are cutting things up, we're creating these boundaries. It can also create change or space to add new things to your life. And then the last things that we have here, we have the chains. This can represent, we had it right between the spring forward, and the cleaver here is the things that are holding you back from moving forward. It's chain kind of holding you back, keeping you chained in space, or from moving in space. And then you also have the idea of it being very heavy as well, a heavy subject. And then we have the things aren't always going to be perfect charm. That's what I always see. Like, this is the silver char. You didn't win gold, you got the silver, but you still gained a lot from the experience. And you're also going to be gaining a lot in terms of not only your emotional intelligence, your abundance, the idea of knowing when and who and how to create these boundaries, but also just knowing that it's okay to not be perfect and that you're going to make mistakes along the way, and that you don't have to wipe them out in your chapter, but rather know that they really served a purpose for you along the way as well. So those are all of your charms and cards here. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I know you have sort of a more open-ended chapter here, right? There isn't like a big climax or a big moment that's happening, but I do think it's going to be a lot of smaller moments, and then these decisions that you'll have to make with that cleaver. But I do think that it's going to be really empowering and very helpful, and very useful to you, if not very freeing as well. So if you enjoyed this reading, definitely be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below how this resonated. I'd definitely be curious to see what chapter you're wanting to build here with each of these cards and charms and what you're going to be gaining. Also, if you are new to the channel or you've been here for a while and you'd like to see more of my videos and the different readings that I put out every single Monday, then definitely feel free and consider subscribing. I would love to have you join us here for this space and these readings that I put out. And also, if you would like to support this channel even further to get new decks and supplies and to just really financially uplift this space, then definitely feel free to check out the Kindred tip jar down below. It's a great way to be able to support this space and the readings that I provide here. But also, if you want to support yourself through a reading and support this space, then that's a great place to check out the snail mail readings that I do. I have lots of reviews and information down below on those. They are typewritten on a vintage typewriter. They are sent to you in the mail for you to enjoy and really treasure as well, and they're really special ones, so I hope you definitely check those out down below. And the last thing I will mention too, because I forget to mention this every once in a while, but if you'd like to and you're still here, then definitely feel free to check out my Instagram as well, as it's a great way to connect with me. I've met so many of you there and I'm on there daily, so I'd love to connect and meet up with you if you'd like to discuss all things spiritual, witchy, and queer. So definitely feel free to check that out down below. And that is all I have here to say. Thank you so much for being here, empowering your new journey and chapter, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 3, if you've decided to choose this little book for your new chapter, then this is the pile for you. We have the little cup as well as the yellow paper clip here. We are going to be using the charms as well as possibly the watercolor affirmations. I'm not really fully feeling them today, so we'll see if we pop those out at all, but we're also going to be using several different oracle decks and tarot, but typically I use tarot for our main deck, but today we're actually going to be using the thread bound oracle for this because it is all about bookbinding, which is perfect for a new chapter. So we'll start heading into that here in a minute, but we're also going to be using letter tiles as well as numbers and the charms, so it's going to be a really overall kind of very overarching message here. So definitely feel free to send your energy in and get ready and settled, grab some tea, a cozy blanket, some comforting music, whatever you really need to get in the mood for this. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So what energy and the setting basically is coming in for you for your new chapter? So this is going to be people, places, the setting, the climax, the things that are going to be happening within this story. And I mentioned this as well within each of the first two piles, that you're welcome to rewrite this story, rehash it, reframe it however you wish, but this is the energy that's coming through the most, and you get to make the decisions, you get to write the story as it unfolds. So definitely feel free to have your own agency here and empower yourself through these cards rather than feel like they are your fate. So let's go ahead and see group 3. We're already getting ones flying out. I'll see that one here in a second. Group 3. What else here for group 3? For the setting, the place, the people, and characters within this story unfolding. Okay, so I'm feeling all of these cards here, so we're going to go ahead and pull them out and look at each of them. The one that flew out first here was actually upside down, so we might be reading this in more of a reverse message. But we have the Two of Thread, twine, agreement, symbiosis, and compromise. But this is more of the opposite, so we're going to see how that resonates. I really do like this card, especially with twine, so we'll speak on it here in a minute. We also have the artist, creativity, ingenuity, and labor. And then we also have the ritual, magic, power, and action. And then lastly here, you have the Six of Thread, which is the stitch, repetition, rhythm, and technique. All right, I'm immediately getting this feeling of like creator's block, because with the twine can talk about when it's in symbiosis, when everything's working together. Twine is two different pieces of thread working together, right? They're intertwined. That's where you get twine from. But because they're intertwined, if you have one too tight than the other one too loose, then you get this weird spiral within the twine where things aren't in balance and things feel a little bit like too tight on one side and something's pulling on the other, and it just doesn't feel in balance. So I feel like I'm getting that. And then the idea of repetition, rhythm, technique, the ritual, which is all about just keeping up. I feel like you're getting through kind of in a rut is what I'm getting, which isn't something that's very exciting to hear, right? But creative blocks also can give us so much space to, if we give ourselves and allow ourselves space away from this ritual, away from that tightening feeling of repetition, it opens a space for innovation, for creation, for something new to come in. Because right now, whatever you're doing, whatever you're repeating within your creative process just really doesn't work for you anymore. And this new chapter is about innovating a new space for yourself, getting creative again, actually listening to your creative side instead of just going with what always works for you. So in your business, maybe you're doing the exact same creative acts over and over and over. You're creating the same things. It's about trying something new, putting something new into the space, and seeing what happens, getting a little bit more playful as well, right? So we have where this is the creative block, and then here is something new emerging on the other end of it. New colors, new paradigms to play around with. Because you have the three words of creativity, ingenuity, and labor. Labor being here on this black side, showcasing that feeling of just being a pawn in the element of like, or just like a hamster on a wheel doing the same thing. It's getting off the wheel, trying out the other things that you have in your creative tool belt, and how those can be a lot more useful to you. So we're getting that coming through with most of your cards here. Other things with repetition can be really useful, right? We get a rhythm, we get things moving, we figure out a very specific technique. But when we've done something so many times, you almost kind of lose the fun buzz of doing it. At least I know I get this. I start a new hobby, I love it, I repeat it over and over, and then I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, you figured it out. The puzzle is done. You already know how to make it. So this is about trying something that you haven't done before and allowing yourself to be kind of bad at it at first, right? I know personally as a creative, sometimes we get into a space where we draw the same characters, we do the same thing, and this doesn't have to be specifically art, like an artist, whatever creative element that you have in whatever field or point of view, from an artist's point of view or a creative point of view in your life. We can get into these ruts and rituals of doing the same thing that we are almost scared to try something new, right? Because you have to kind of look bad at it for a little while. You have to draw a hand awkward, or you have to do this thing a way you haven't done before. And that means that you have to have other people watch you and see you possibly fail in a way. Although I feel like failures are really just what leads us to our own personal views of success. So I feel like you're at like a feeling of success, of comfort, but you have to kind of throw in a wild element again and think of it more as an opportunity versus failure being something that has to be ridiculed or looked at as like not worthy of your time, because I think it really will be in the end. Also, this can talk about needing rest as well, some creative rest too. So I want to look a little bit further. Let's go ahead and pull you 2 more cards here to look a little bit further into the people, the setting, the place, how this story and chapter is unfolding. So let's see, group 3. What else do we have coming in for this new chapter with the artist, the ritual, the stitch, and the twine? Kind of feeling this back card as well as this one here. Okay, of course, yeah. Okay, so we have the Emperor, and the Emperor is all about structure, about following the map, following, it's like society. It's following the map, following expectations, following what is and always has been, as if like nothing has ever changed, right? This is the idea of thinking that society doesn't change, but it does evolve, it does change. So you're allowed to change too. You're allowed to change into a new creative path, to shift things around, to try something and get creative and playful and be bad at something, allowing yourself to just be kind of bad at first so that you can be good as you move through this chapter. I think that's going to be really important, because if you stay in this stuck in your ways feeling, I don't think you're going to get a lot of that creative passion that comes through with the Knight of Wands. You're going to lose that. You may still be doing really good. You might be doing really good in your business, really good in this, but you are going to be putting yourself in a rut, in a burnout stage, because you've burned out that passion, right? So we also have the Knight of Wands, which represents your passion, represents your drive, represents movement and change. As you can see, they are fierce. They've got this. They are bold, and they know what they want, and they go after it. So this is about finding that creative, playful nature again and following it. This can also be that you might have a muse that comes in as well, because this can also represent people in our life. So you might have a muse of some sort that relates to the Knight of Wands here, that gives you a little bit more perspective, takes you out of this repetition, out of your typical rituals, out of the ways that you feel like you need to stay in and create this rut. And they're going to give you a little bit of that playful nature as well. So you might have someone entering your story as well that could be useful in that way. So with all of these stories sort of unfolding here within your chapter, I want to look a little bit further, and we're obviously going to be looking even further here in a minute with your charms and your card and your letters and number tiles. But I want to look for one last card here, which this is going to be the advice coming through for you. So advice that you can follow on this chapter, and something that can just kind of motivate you and move you forward. But if you are enjoying this reading so far, it would be amazing if you could give this video a like. It really does help the channel so much. Definitely feel free to subscribe as well and let me know your thoughts. But let's go ahead and look at this advice card for you, group 3. The advice coming through here for group 3. Group 3. Oh my goodness, they're just flying out. So you actually got 2, and both of them are birds, but they're doing very different things. So I think that's really interesting that you got 2 different ones, both from the action suit, so taking action. So first off, the first one that you got here is the bald eagle, and it says, "Am I ready to be seen?" So this is about being vulnerable, showing your soft parts, right? This is about showing your heart, showing your passion, and sometimes that's a little scary, right? We don't want to show people our passion, show people the new things, or show that we are kind of bad at drawing that thing or doing this thing, like I've mentioned before. So the idea that you're going to be letting other people see it, letting other people see the imperfection in your process, and actually embracing the process for something that can be so beautiful and impactful for change and passion is really, really impactful, really important on your journey. And I think it's something that you should definitely embrace. And that's what's going to be showing up most for your advice here, is to embrace being seen, embrace those failures, embrace messing up, and allowing that to be part of your process for success in your own personal success. By the way, I don't mean society's success, your success. We also have dive here. And it says, "Red-tailed hawk, what is ready for action?" So in this case, you have one that's showcasing like their chest, really showing that whole space, really showing those soft parts of themselves. And then they're going to dive for what they want. So now that you have found direction, now you have that feeling of that power that you get from that Knight of Wands, that let's go kind of energy. So it definitely is, start heading on this new target, on this new path, and see where it takes you, and having those vulnerable parts be exposed in a good good way, in a way that almost feels like a rush, and like a risk worth taking. So what is ready for action? You have Dive as your other card here, showing up for advice. So those are all of your cards here for your specific journey that you're going to be heading on, this new chapter. But let's start looking into the rest of it within your charms, and then we're going to look into number and letter tiles here first. So I'll zoom you in so you can see a little bit closer here. So first up, let's look at your letter tiles. So this is going to be names, dates, places, initials, those sorts of things, as well as oracle messages. So here we go, group 3. I feel like I dropped a couple. Okay. All right. Apparently this A really needed out, as well as this I. So we've got a lot showing up here for your letters. A lot of the other piles didn't have as many letters showing up, but the ones that were upright first, we have the letter D, I, S, and A. I almost am getting like a dis or like distance. Like you almost need distance away from this for a little while so that you can start this new chapter. So I feel like it's like if you've ever read a book and like the first part of the book, like the first 50 pages really drag on, but then like everything starts moving into action. I feel like that's your chapter, right? You're going to need a little bit of backstory and some time off and just moving through the story, and then it's going to give you that distance to create more of that feeling of diving into it. So we have D-I-S-A. We also have the letters E, L, B, and A. Liba. That just showed up. I also see lean or lease even. I guess lean doesn't really show up here. Leah does, though. I'm also seeing like lease, like maybe leasing a new apartment or a new lease on life kind of feeling. But definitely feel free to see what comes through for you. I also see like B, like B-E-A. But yeah, see what comes through for you. Definitely feel free to take your time and look through these and see. Definitely let me know in the comments down below as well if anything starts to show up for you. But we're going to go ahead and pull your numbers. So this is going to give us more of those timing elements as well as like angel numbers or spiritual numbers coming through. So let's go ahead, group 3. Okay, lots of numbers, lots of letters. Let's go. Okay, all of the piles have gotten a 13. So there is something about needing an old chapter to end for this one to come in, which we already were thinking, right? We needed that to come in. We also had DIE, right? So this can talk about more of that death card, more of that 13 that comes from the death card. So needing these rhythms, these repetitions to come to an end because they're like that twine, right? They're getting too tight, that the twine is going to break. It's going to snap at some point. We also have the letter or the numbers 3, 12, as well as 6, 1. And the colors might resonate as well for you, as well as 5, and lastly here 4. So we have 1, 3, I'll try to put these in order for you real quick. All right, so yeah, we have 12, 13, 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6 with the colors of like a cobalt blue, red, orange, and black. But no specific color really resonating the most coming through here, but see what comes through for you. Like I said, these can be angel numbers, or you can also see them as being specific dates as well, like within a month, like different so if this was a month, you definitely have a lot happening in the very beginning parts of your month, with those 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6, like the first week. But as always, see what comes through for you. And lastly, we're going to pull you some charms, and not just to look into the oracle side with like I typically do with these charms. We're actually going to look into what you're going to gain most from this new chapter, right? This is like the character development. So what are you going to get most from this? So feel free to send your energy in, and we'll start mixing these up here, group 3. goodness. Definitely a lot of green showing up here. Green is related to the heart center. So this is about that vulnerability, right? We talked about it earlier with the eagle here, with that heart being vulnerable. The eagle also with the heart here, it actually has a green eye. So it also can be your intuition, leading with your heart as well as your intuition could be really important, something you're going to be learning a lot and having that character development in. We also have quite a lot showing up here, so let's see over here what fell. So we have here optimistic. Really like this. This is Sagittarius. So you might have a Sagittarius coming in. It definitely has that same feeling of the Knight of Wands that we had earlier, right? That passionate writer coming in to inspire you as well as to give more of an optimistic view on your situation. And then we also have, it was right next to the long journey charm. So this is like the what is it called? A wagon? A covered wagon. So this is a indication of that same feeling that I had earlier of this is gonna be a longer journey, and then everything's gonna pick up very quickly, right? So this is gonna be a long journey until this person comes in, and until you maybe ask for that advice or you have that passion and drive come back in. It's gonna take a little bit of time. Maybe you need a bit of that rest, that little bit of just taking things a little bit slower could be really useful to you to create more of an optimistic view and direction as well, because Sagittarius can also talk a lot about direction, right? They have that archery element, direction and focus. The other charms that we have showing up here, we have the right in the center, the most important one showing up the most for your character development is getting back on the saddle. So especially if you're going through that rut right now, or you're about to enter that rut of that repetition, this is getting back up on the saddle and getting back into it, but not from like a place of needing to do it or feeling obligated, but wanting to get back on it, right? Having that passion and drive again, getting back on the saddle. You have a lot having to do with horses, archers, that kind of stuff. And then lastly here we have more repetition. So there's definitely repetition, tedious feelings showing up here, because we have the song on repeat, right? This is like a little vinyl or record. So this is about like having a song on repeat over and over and over, and you've just sort of run that song dry. You just don't want to listen to it anymore. Put on a new song, right? So maybe you need some new music to pep you up. Maybe you could take this literally, change up your playlist, see if that makes a difference for you. The people you surround yourself with, the tools that you use, that kind of stuff. Change it all up and see what sort of sticks and what doesn't. And then for more of that character development as well, this can also just talk about that you put a new song on, that you're allowing yourself to look at it from a new perspective and hear yourself as well. And then lastly here we have the charm of like the universe working in your favor through prayer, manifestation, asking for help, that kind of stuff, because we have people or spiritual elements, people working in the background to make something happen. So it might take a bit of time, but they are working towards a goal with you. So those are all of the charms and cards showing up here for you. I hope you enjoyed this reading here with me today, and that it empowered you and gave you a little bit more about the chapter that you might want to write on your path moving forward. But if you did enjoy this reading, definitely be sure to give this video a like, as I mentioned earlier, but also let me know if different charms or cards or specific letters really resonated with you. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. You guys always inspire me so much for these readings, and I love to hear your thoughts. But if you have been here for a while and you'd like to, or if you haven't, maybe this is one of your very first videos, then definitely feel free and consider subscribing, as I put out new videos every single Monday. I have lots of other videos you can binge on here as well to empower yourself with. So definitely feel free to join our little kindred spirit community here on the internet. And also, if you'd like to support this channel further, if you'd like to help financially support it and to help me get more decks and supplies to uplift these readings even further, then definitely feel free to check out the Kindred tip jar down below. That's a great way to utilize a way to support. But also, if you'd like to support yourself as well as this channel, then definitely feel free to check out the snail mail readings down below. I was almost about to say timeless reading. These snail mail readings, they are quite timeless in that they are sent to you in the mail. They are typewritten on a vintage typewriter, and they have such a unique feeling to them, and a lot of people said that they even come back to them again and again and find them to be so useful down the line. They come back to them in that way. and that they're so treasured to them. So definitely feel free to check out the reviews and more information on those down below if that's something you'd like for yourself. And if you'd like to also check out my Instagram, that's a great way to stay up to date on different offerings that I provide, as well as just the different witchcraft and spiritual stuff, as well as queer stuff that I get up to. So all of that will be down below. And before I run out of breath, I'm going to go ahead and end this reading. Thank you so much for being here. I wish you the best on this new chapter, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.